Let's turn now to Iran, where the regime has carried out more executions linked to the protests happening across that country. According to Iranian state media sources, 2 men were hanged this morning. Journalist Rebecca Collard has the details.
These 2 men, Mohammad Karami and Mohammad Hosseini, were executed early this morning. They had been accused and convicted of being involved in the death of a member of a paramilitary force that the Iranian government has been using to help crack down on these protests. Now, I'll just say the lawyer of Hosseini has tweeted and said that his client was subjected to torture. Now, saying that his hands and his feet were tied, that he was beaten, that he was subjected to electric shocks. And of course, we can't confirm any of that, Natasha, but I will say it's in line with a trend and concerns of human rights organizations, which say that they're worried that there's a system in Iran now where protesters are arrested, that confessions are forced under threats or under torture, and then those confessions are used to convict protesters in what Amnesty International has called sham trials. Now, the other thing I will say, Natasha, is that tomorrow is going to mark 3 years exactly since the downing of that Ukrainian Airlines flight that was carrying so many people, most of them bound for Canada, Canadian citizens, permanent residents, people coming to visit their family in Canada. And there are calls for more protests tomorrow. And I would say that's significant for 2 reasons, Natasha. First of all, that if this was an attempt, these executions are an attempt by the Iranian government to intimidate protesters off the streets, that doesn't seem to be working. And the second thing I would say is that it's an important reminder that these protests started over the death of Mahsa Amini, a young Kurdish woman in the custody of morality police because she was allegedly not wearing her hijab properly. But they're really about so much more than that. They are about economic concerns. They are about decades of repression by clerical rulers in Iran. And they are about holding the Iranian government accountable for things like the downing of this Ukrainian Airlines flight. So we'll see what size of protests we have tomorrow, but I think that that's an important thing to watch as well, Natasha.
Rebecca Collard reporting from Berlin. Hadi Ghaemi is the New York-based executive director for the Center for Human Rights in Iran. He's calling for Canada and the international community to use the strongest diplomatic measures to call out the Iranian regime.
There is a lot of expectation from inside the country that the international community, particularly European countries and like-minded countries in other parts of the world like Japan, South Korea, New Zealand, Australia, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and European Union, of course, on top of the list, should be calling their ambassadors back home immediately and expelling Iranian ambassadors. We really need a united front right now. Each country doing individual actions not enough, and Canada and US that don't have much diplomatic leverage over Iranian government should also play a role in bringing all of these governments together to have a united foreign policy toward Iran. There is a lot of expectation for a united, strong action from the outside the country. We know these are political murders. There should be no hesitation for coming together and taking foreign policy action, not individual, and it's got to reach the level of governments right now. It's essential.